Hey friends, Gary here. As some of you guys might already know, I'm a long-time Micro Four Thirds shooter. However, with no option for smaller, portable, lightweight, affordable camera with flipping screen and microphone jack and good continuous autofocus, I am forced to branch out to other camera format. No, this is not the end of Micro Four Thirds. I'm still using my Micro Four Thirds camera, but I'm adding something new and unique to my entire camera collection. Today, I'm sharing my experience of using my new Sony ZV-E10, which is currently recording this talking head right now. You are seeing me through that camera together with my Filtrox 13mm f1.4. Please let me know what do you think about the video quality of the talking head. Is it better or is it the same compared to my previous setup using my Osmo Pocket 3? Right away, let's talk about some basic specification of the ZV-E10. So this camera isn't exactly new. It was released in 2021, so it's 3 years old already. But if you followed my channel, you might already know that I'm more into the older mirrorless camera that's more affordable but has great specs. So the ZV-E10 fits my bill perfectly. Anyway, this is a 24 megapixel APS-C E-mount Sony camera, mirrorless camera, so you can have that interchangeable lens capability, and it is aimed more towards content creators. So it has 4K video and it also has 1080p video. I'm currently recording in 1080, and it also has some frame rate options, especially 120 frames per second for that smooth slow motion. The camera is surprisingly small and lightweight, but it has great ergonomics. The front grip is very grippy and very nice to hold. Because it is aimed more towards content creator, the Sony ZV-E10 features fully articulating screen, which I really appreciate so much. It also has mic jack input and also surprisingly headphone jack as well, so I can monitor my audio if needed. And then it also has a hot shoe, which is really helpful in my opinion because I use flash or speed lights frequently, especially when I'm doing thumbnail photography or things like that. But as with everything else in this world, nothing is perfect, and the ZV-E10 is no exception. There's no in-body image stabilizer, so yeah, it's sorely missed. And also it doesn't have weather sealing. But yeah, in terms of stabilization, it does feature digital stabilization that works well in video as long as you are using high enough shutter speed. So if this is a Micro Four Thirds camera, then the closest thing to the ZV-E10 is the Panasonic Lumix G100, I believe. Manual control with the ZV-E10 is sufficient enough in my opinion. There are some dials and buttons that can help you to quickly change settings. However, one thing that is missing from the ZV-E10 is the PASM mode dial, which I sorely missed. However, I can still access the PASM mode in the menu, and it's not too difficult to access. One thing to note here is that the combination of the small, portable, lightweight body combined with the flipping, fully articulating screen and the mic jack and the great continuous autofocus and the great price is really what draws me into purchasing this camera. If one of those elements is missing, then I wouldn't be buying the ZV-E10. I personally think that the formula of the ZV-E10 is almost perfect. It should have been a Micro Four Thirds formula, not a Sony E-mount formula, but it happens to be a ZV-E10. I think this strikes the perfect balance between size, weight, performance, image quality, and price, and that's what I'm really into. I'm a little bit sad because this is not a Micro Four Thirds camera, but anyway, this is a nice camera if you want something small and lightweight but packs a lot of punch, especially if you're doing something like travel photography. In fact, this is so small and light that it is smaller and lighter compared to my Panasonic Lumix GX85, but it features things that the GX G85 doesn't actually have. Even though it is small and light, I don't think Sony sacrifices build quality that much. I still think that the build quality is okay in my opinion, nothing really special. It's not fully metallic body or anything like that, but it feels robust and just very rugged in my opinion. Anyway, let's talk about my personal usage of the ZV-E10, and I bought this camera mainly for recording YouTube videos. That's all. So like right now you are watching me through the ZV-E10 for recording A-roll videos, talking head like this. I think this is perfect, and also I use this camera to record B-roll as well with some other lens. I'm using the Sigma 18 to 50mm f2.8 for my B-roll videos. And one thing that I should note for recording video, the continuous autofocus works well. It really speeds up my workflow in video. It really makes everything easier. I can just forget about autofocus and the camera will figure it out by itself, and most of the time it will get the focus correctly, no problem. See, I can just move forward like this, and then I can just move back, and then I can put my camera right here and the ZV-E10 will focus on it. It's just smart enough in my opinion, and it really helps to save a lot of time when I'm recording videos like this. Aside from recording YouTube videos, I also use the ZV-E10 occasionally to take some photos for a little bit of general photography, but I don't do it as often because I still think Micro Four Thirds is better for still photography. I think it's just more intuitive. I would like to use the ZV-E10 in the future to complement my Micro Four Thirds cameras with some specific lenses. I will explain about lenses later, by the way, things that I learned from the ZV-E10 and some of the lenses that I already have. Anyway, in terms of still photography, I will share some sample pictures later on, so make sure you stay on this video. And yeah, I wanna make a quick note about single autofocus. It is also quite fast and reliable and accurate, almost as fast as my Lumix Micro Four Thirds cameras, but I think in terms of single autofocus, Panasonic Lumix is still the king. It is just so fast and instantaneous and accurate most of the time. Anyway, now let's talk about video and image quality. First, let's begin with video. I want to talk about A-roll quality first. So what you are seeing right now is a sample A-roll video taken using the ZV-E10, and it is recorded in 1080p 25 frames per second. What do you think? Please let me know on the comment down below. But for me personally, it is more than good enough. Some people complain about the 1080p quality of the ZV-E10 being not detailed enough, but for me, I find it more than good enough. I don't find any lack of detail. Maybe when you compare to some higher end camera, then you start to see the decrease of image quality. But for me, I'm quite happy using the ZV-E10 for recording A-roll. Now let me share some sample B-rolls taken using the ZV-E10, and this is a little bit different. I recorded them in 1080p 50 frames per second, and then I slow motioned them half speed so you get that nice buttery smooth kind of looking footages. And yeah, I'm quite happy with the result as well. I still think they are detailed. I still think they look nice. The colors, everything is just okay. By the way, I'm recording in HLG3 and I color grade the footage just a little bit in post-processing. Now let's talk about photo quality, and let me again share some sample pictures taken using the ZV-E10, and right away I can say that the images look nice, crispy, detailed, and then the background blur also looks nice because it is slightly larger sensor compared to my Micro Four Thirds camera. And now the obvious question, how is the ZV-E10 when compared to a Micro Four Thirds? Obviously, with the larger APS-C sensor on the Sony ZV-E10, it will produce better background blur or bokeh compared to Micro Four Thirds. Same story with low light performance, especially at higher ISO. It will be better on the larger sensor of the Sony ZV-E10. However, that's for testing purposes. For real life, real world kind of usage scenarios, I surprisingly cannot find too much difference between the ZV-E10 and my Micro Four Thirds camera. Wow! I mean, when you look at the pictures of the ZV-E10, sometimes you can tell it's taken using the ZV-E10 only because it has more background blur. But if background blur isn't present on the images, or if you are using wider angle lenses, I couldn't really find too much difference between them. So what I want to say is that you shouldn't base your camera purchase decision only on the image quality alone, because sometimes when a camera is technically better in terms of image quality compared to some other cameras, in real world usage the difference is very small, it's very marginal, it's not significant at all. Now let's talk about lenses, and right away, one thing that I love from the Sony ZV-E10 is the availability of third-party lenses that is affordable, small and lightweight, has great image quality, great specification, and also great price. And also there are lots of options for third-party autofocus lenses as well. So this is something that I really appreciate. Companies like Sigma or TTArtisan or Filtrox, they're making plenty of lenses for Sony E-mount cameras. My favorite lens for general purpose photography and also for general video is this guy right here. This is the Sigma 18 to 50mm f2.8. Wow, surprisingly lightweight, surprisingly very small. It has great image quality, large aperture of f2.8, and it is smaller compared to my Micro Four Thirds 12 to 35mm f2.8 or the Olympus 12 to 40mm f2.8. Granted, the 12 to 35 has image stabilizer and the Olympus has slightly longer telephoto focal length, but still, this is an APS-C lens. Isn't it supposed to be bigger and heavier? And yeah, I really love the images taken using this guy right here. For recording talking head video like what I'm doing right now, I really love the Filtrox 13mm f1.4 wide angle lens. It has the perfect focal length in my opinion, not too wide but still ultra wide. So for talking head like this, you get more of the background, more of the environment, but it's not too wide, it's just proportional in my opinion. And also the large aperture of f1.4 and also autofocus, not just manual focus. Wow, really lovely. And the autofocus performance works great as well. I haven't really used the Filtrox for photography. I just use it for recording talking head like what I'm doing right now. But in the future, maybe I will use it more for photography as well. Another lens that I have for the Sony ZV-E10 is this small little guy right here. This is the Sony kit lens 16 to 50mm f3.5 to f5.6 power zoom. And I never really used this lens. I don't hate it, but it comes with power zoom and I don't really like using power zoom. I much prefer mechanical zoom like my Panasonic Lumix 12 to 32mm. It's just more reliable and faster in my opinion. But image quality, I think it is okay with this small kit lens. In the future, I'm planning to add a couple more lenses for my ZV-E10. And the first lens that I will get will be Sigma 10 to 18mm f2.8 ultra wide angle zoom lens. I think that lens is very special. It really defies physics. It is so small and also lightweight, yet it offers f2.8 large aperture and zoomable ultra wide angle focal lengths, which should work well for travel photography, for landscape photography. And yeah, I wanna get that lens right away. If you have that lens, please let me know on the comment down below. How does it perform? Do you like it? What about the image quality? Please let me know. Now it's time to be objective. There's no such thing as the perfect camera, and the ZV-E10 is no exception. So now I want to share some things that I don't like from the ZV-E10. First thing is the lack of in-body stabilizer. Well, yes, the ZV-E10 does have a nice digital stabilizer that works quite well for video. And if you want to take it up a notch, you can stabilize your video footage on your computer using a software called Catalyst Browse. However, digital stabilization doesn't work for still image, so I still think an in-body stabilizer is important if you want to take pictures instead of just video. Next thing that I don't really like from the ZV-E10 is the menu system. Well, yes, the menu is very complete. You can customize all sorts of different kinds of things in the menu and try to find settings for very specific purposes. However, the menu is very convoluted because there are plenty of things that you can choose. So it's overwhelming sometimes. I mean, with my Panasonic Lumix cameras, the menu is much simpler, and then there are things that you can do directly by pressing a button instead of going into the menu. So yeah, that's my problem with the menu system of the ZV-E10. Next thing that I don't really like from the ZV-E10 is the lack of a dedicated PASM mode dial. It really hurts me because I switch modes frequently, especially from aperture priority to shutter priority when I want to try to do some street photography, or from aperture priority to full manual when I want to do full-blown landscape photography. With the ZV-E10, yes, you can press a button on the camera to go into the PASM option and then change it, but it's an extra step. I prefer to have something that's dedicated and analog and very quick and easy to access. Anyway, in conclusion, I'm quite happy with my Sony ZV-E10. I think it does what I needed to do perfectly, especially in terms of recording video. However, although it is a nice camera, I still don't think that the ZV-E10 is the perfect camera for all situations, especially in terms of photography. For photography, I will still use my Micro Four Thirds camera, not because the ZV-E10 is a worse camera compared to my Micro Four Thirds Lumix cameras, but it's because the ZV-E10 actually lacks one thing that is present on my Lumix Micro Four Thirds cameras, and that is the mojo, the character. It lacks that little something that makes it fun and enjoyable to use. Don't get me wrong, this is a nice camera, but it's a little bit more technical compared to my Micro Four Thirds cameras. It is geared more toward content creator, but not really photographers in general. I do take lots of pictures, so I still need my camera to perform well. Not perform, but feels good to me when I'm taking pictures, and for that I will still choose my Micro Four Thirds cameras. However, I personally think that Panasonic Lumix should copy this camera and turn it into a Micro Four Thirds camera. I think that will definitely become a hit, especially with the nice continuous autofocus that really helps for video, and also the nice form factor that is great for taking pictures. Anyway, that is all for my Sony ZV-E10. Hopefully this video has been interesting, informative, fun and enjoyable. So please let me know on the comment down below, what do you think of this camera. Also, if you have any question, please comment down below as well. I will try my best to answer them. Also, don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to my channel down below. And if you want to support my work even further, consider using the affiliate links on the description below if you want to purchase something, or buy my travel photography ebook also on the description below, or use the super thanks button to make a small donation to my channel. Thank you, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.